Hi everyone, it's great to see you. Today I'm going to walk you through how you can propagate Macrophylla hydrangea. I'm standing in the backyard next to one of my most favorite hydrangea, this beautiful purple hydrangea. It is a Macrophylla, it has these big balls of flower, and you can change it to be more pink or more blue depending on the acidity of your soil. And I don't know what kind this is. It was here when we moved in. It's one of my favorites. I have figured out that it only blooms on old wood. It's probably one of the older varieties of hydrangea. And since I can't go out and buy one like this, that's the type of hydrangea that you want to propagate. So maybe your grandmother has a hydrangea bush at her house that you love and you'd like to have a cutting of that. It's been there forever. Maybe you're going to move and you want to take a little part of your garden with you to a new house. Great excuses to propagate hydrangea. Sometimes you just want more hydrangea. Now, there are some laws with propagating hydrangeas. These wonderful people who make new hydrangeas for us put in years and years of work on their hydrangeas. And if your hydrangea has been propagated and created in the last 10 or so years, it does have a patent on it. You cannot legally go and start getting cuttings of every single hydrangea that's new on the market and growing them out and selling them yourself. However, one that's been around a long time, that the patent has worn off of or it never had a patent, is fair game for creating more hydrangea. And don't worry, those that are newer, give them a few more years, you'll be able to propagate those too. So let's go through all the steps.
Ready.
So I have found the hydrangea that I want to propagate. Now I'm going to go and find the end of one of the branches that doesn't have a blossom on it. And I'm going to pull it over so you can see the branches. And I'm going to cut either one or two leaf nodes down. I want to make two baby hydrangeas from this, so I'm going to go, here's my, well, there's actually some up here, but here's another pair of leaves and another pair of leaves there. I'm going to go all the way down here and I'm going to snip. You don't have to use your garden shears, but use scissors that are sharp. So there we have our piece. Then I bring it inside. Okay, I'm inside now in the kitchen because this is where I tend to do my propagating. And I have my cut off piece of hydrangea branch. Now, our goal is going to be to grow roots. Here is one that I cut off and put in water quite a while ago. There are a ton of roots here. That's what we want. This is how we're going to do it. You don't need a lot of leaves. In fact, supporting those leaves will take away some of the energy from making the roots. So first I look it over and I make sure that there are no hitchhiking bugs on it. Usually I manage to bring in, last time it was a grasshopper, something, so it's always good to check before they surprise you. Now I'm going to cut it into leaf pairs. Here's one leaf pair at the bottom. Snip it right off. There's one cutting. Then I go to my next leaf pair. And I'm cutting it right above where those leaves are. I'll lay it there for you. And then we have this little top part. I'm going to leave that all together. We'll say that that's one too. Now, I have the potential for 3 new hydrangeas, but these leaves take a lot of energy, so I am going to cut off the top parts, maybe 2/3 of them. They need enough leaf left to get energy and, have photosynthesis happening, but we don't need all these parts here. I'll do the same with this one. Some people like to fold them, some people cut them fancy. Whatever it is that makes you happy, there we go. We just don't want too much. And for this, I think I'll leave those little ones on the top. That should be good. Now when I cut these apart, I cut it at an angle. And that's because it gives more surface area there. And I'm going to use a rooting hormone. This is a rooting powder. You can get a rooting powder on Amazon. There's a whole bunch of different brands. I get whatever's cheapest. Just find one. You don't have to even have this. For this guy, no rooting hormone was used and it did a great job. Okay, I like to sprinkle a little of my rooting hormone out because I don't want to get all the powder in here wet. And then I get my stem a little wet and I just sort of dip it in it and roll it in it. Now it's coated, and you have to have something clear, preferably so you can see through to how it's doing, and you just stand it in the water. Put it in somewhere not too sunny, but a little sunny. Here on my kitchen counter seems to work well. It's not directly in the light, but it gets enough sun. And then you keep an eye on it. Now this other one that I have had growing here on the counter, I accidentally knocked off this little piece. I would say end of March, and here we are beginning of July. So it grew through April, May, and June. Just sitting here, every time I walked by and thought about it, I would dump the water, put some fresh water in there, stick it back in, it's happy. But once you see a significant amount of root growth, then you can put it in a small pot with potting mix. I'll walk you through that once these start to grow some roots. So let's talk long term here. Say you get great starts to your hydrangea. They are growing, happy roots there. You're all good. And you're like, I'm gonna plant it in my garden. Well, I have to tell you, you can't plant it right in your garden. This is really going to be a 2-year process. So first you have this summer, you're gonna grow the happy roots, you're gonna plant them in your little pots, then you're gonna get to winter. They're not very hardy, they're just little tiny plants. You need them to get that spell of cold weather. You're gonna have to keep them probably in an unheated shed or an unheated garage through that winter. Then you take your little pot out, it comes back, you're gonna grow it all through next year. Maybe you can pot it up then. Some people say they then can put it in the ground. I have found that for me, it's still too early. I do a second winter, overwintered somewhere cold, and then it seems to be big enough. The great thing is next year, these will probably send out 1 or 2 blossoms, and that gives you a great sense of, yes, my hydrangea are going to do wonderfully. So if you're up for a more long-term project, but a project that is totally worth it because you're getting more hydrangeas, you should probably step outside and take a cutting of one of yours and give this a try. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.